What if I told you that Roth conversions aren't the best idea for your retirement plan? Hey, it's Eric with Jazz Wealth Managers, where we don't just invest the dough, we like to educate you. And Roth conversions are a big topic that a lot of people like to talk about and a lot of people like to do. And it kind of makes sense in the long term if you think about things and the fact that nobody wants to pay a large amount of taxes. But what it comes to is it all really does depend on the plan. And I want to go through a plan with you and actually show you where it could hurt you. Because just the other day, Dustin and I talked about a plan on our Friday podcast where we really chatted through the idea that one person was going to pay about $1 million in taxes for the rest of their life if they were to do Roth conversions, or they could pay about $8 million in taxes if they didn't do Roth conversions, and that was because of the RMD. Now, in any of the plans that you look at, when it comes to taking the RMD, oftentimes the money that you are going to take out, the required minimum distribution once you reach age 72 or above, the older you get, the more you have to take. What we see with a lot of clients are a lot of these people have to take money out, and they actually have to take out excess of what they actually need to spend, because by the time they get Social Security and they're already withdrawing some money, they don't need the massive RMD. So with the planning side of it, what we have to look at is then taking that money, instead of just throwing it in cash, you actually want to reinvest it into a taxable account where it's again going to grow in the market. But first you have to pay all the taxes on it. So that's where I want to look at this in these scenarios specifically. The fact is that I want to show you how sometimes the Roth conversion can actually play against you. Maybe this scenario is just like you and you're like, oh, wow, maybe I don't want to do the Roth conversion, or maybe it's totally opposite of you and it would still make sense for you. But this is just to show you that it's a case-by-case scenario. So let's step right in here to Louis and Lucille Armstrong. Lucille Wilson here is what we've got. And so as far as the breakdown, net worth of about $2.65 million. It's quite a good nest egg there that they've got built up. So as far as their investments go, if you look here, they've got about $1 million in an old 401k that they rolled over. An investment account here is a Roth 401k with $389,000. A 401k, current 401k with $150,000, and then they've got $616 in another traditional IRA. And so all of that said, that's the good breakdown that we want to look at. Now from there, we've got to talk about the goals. We first have to say, okay, well, how old are they? They're currently both 61 years old or 60 years old. There we go. They're going to retire at 62 though. So they're actually in a position where they can do the Roth conversion now if they want to, because at 59 and a half, you can always do an in-service rollover of your 401k to an IRA and then start to analyze if it makes sense to do the Roth conversion. So that's a good tip to know, because in this scenario, they can do that. They could actually roll the 401ks over. Looks like they've already done some of those, but they can continue to do that so that they can convert the money if it makes sense for them. Their retirement expense is $6,000, healthcare cost of $5,238, national average there. They have a little retirement travel plan and a little wild and out plan. Just 1 year, they're going to just spend an extra $6,000. And so this is the baseline of where we're at. These are the expenses. That's the savings they have. Now is the tax time. This is what we want to look at. So we first got their effective tax rate. These people are in Florida. There's not a state tax in Florida. There's only the federal tax that you're going to look at. And so with their plan right here, what we're looking at is a breakdown of their current 1040 if they have the current plan without doing any sort of conversion. Now, when it comes to the conversion itself, what we want to look at is different scenarios. Now, I said that, hey, maybe it does or does not make sense. I want to start with this because if you're looking here, you're going to get a whopping $19,000 more on over $2 million. Now, don't get me wrong, $19,000 is nice money, right? That's a lot of money. But at the same time, it's not near the amount for the amount that you already have. If you have $2 million and you say, well, hey, I'm going to have, $19,000 there. It's not a massive chunk. So this is what we're looking at here. In a 12 to 15% tax bracket, if they did a conversion on their current plan, what they're going to have is converting in the low times there. That's kind of the standard. That's what a lot of people we talk to, they say, hey, I want to convert when I'm in that down period in the valleys where I can live on a little bit less money and I'm retired, my tax bracket is lower. That's when I want to convert the most. So that's what it's looking at doing here. But then it says, well, if that's when you want to convert the most, let's bump this thing up a little bit. Let's actually take a look a little higher. At 22 to 25%, you're actually in a higher or a lower tax bracket compared to when you're going to get in the RMDs. And look at this, $337,908 less for their plan. Now, that's a chunk of money when it comes to these Roth conversions. Now, I want to take a look at one more with this, but first, let's take a look. This is making you 100% tax-free on this one. So if you converted all of that money, it is nice to know. And some people, what they end up looking at with this is, hey, you know what? It's going to be less in my pocket, but at the same time, I'm going to be able to pass this to my children tax-free, because now with the new laws, the children, when they inherit money, if it is pre-tax money, they have to withdraw it within 10 years and pay taxes on that as they withdraw it. Well, maybe they're a high income earner. They're going to get this money and have a really high tax bracket. So it's a whole different planning perspective if you're talking about for an inheritance and estate planning versus if you're just talking your specific plan here. So taking a look at this a bit more, if we go right here and we're looking, let's go ahead and jump this up to 24 to 28%. Now this one's interesting because if they do a lot on the front side, it's only going to give them $25,000 less, but it's going to give them the peace of mind, because I have yet to meet one person in their retirement years that says, man, I just love paying taxes. They all hate it. They hate the RMD. They're frustrated with it. And so the older you get, the more you get aggravated, because you say, well, I've worked my whole life and now I'm having to pay all these taxes. The fact is you never paid taxes on that money. It grew tax-free. Now you're having to pay the taxes. And so with this one though, that's probably about the best scenario you're going to get, because if you go to 32 to 33%, you have $415,000 less. So in the end, it all has come to say that you have to have a plan to really know what is best for you. Don't just go out and try to convert all of this money, because it may or may not be the best scenario for you.
Thanks for watching. If you want to watch more FinTips videos, click here. Be sure to like and subscribe also.